So once you log into Send47 by going to Send47.com, the first thing you'll get access to is the dashboard. And right away, you'll see the onboarding steps, which is great because it gives you a really clear path instead of just throwing you into the product and expecting you to figure everything out on your own. One of the first onboarding steps is to connect your email provider. And here, you've got a few options depending on how you want to send. You can connect Gmail, Google Workspace, Outlook, Zoho Mail, or if you're using a custom setup, you can connect through SMTP as well. All you have to do is click in, follow the step-by-step instructions, and if you need extra help, there's a guide right there that takes you to the documentation so you can see exactly how everything is set up. Once you've completed those steps, your email account is connected and ready to use. Now, this path is great if you want to send cold emails or lower volume emails, because with Gmail and a lot of traditional inbox providers, you're usually working within daily sending limits, around 500 emails a day or so, depending on the provider and setup. But let's say you want to send at much higher volume. Let's say 20,000 emails a day, or more. That's where you'd connect a Resend account, and this is where the workflow starts to get really powerful. Resend is a great option for scaling because it helps make sure your email domain is set up properly. It gives you a cleaner path for authenticating your domain, setting up SPF and DKIM, following sending best practices, and making sure the technical foundation is there before you start pushing volume. And again, the process is straightforward. You follow the guided links, sign up, verify the domain, connect your API key, and you're good to go. Resend is free up to 100 emails a day, so it's easy to get started. And then if you want to scale from there into bulk email, 50,000 emails, 100,000 emails, or even more, the pricing is pretty clear and easy to upgrade into. So that gives you two strong sending paths right away. Inbox accounts when you want more personal, lower volume outreach. Resend when you want clean infrastructure for larger scale sending. After that, the next step is to create your brand profile. This is where Send47 starts becoming more than just an email sender. What you do here is select the email provider you connected, put in your website link, your call to action link, whatever the goal is for your campaign, and then you can also define your brand colors. What Send47 does with that information is actually really useful. It analyzes your brand and creates a profile using AI, so your campaigns follow your branding, your style, your voice, and your visual identity more consistently. That's especially important for marketing emails, newsletters, and promotional campaigns, because you don't want every email to feel like it was built from scratch with no relationship to the brand. So that profile helps keep everything much more on brand from the beginning. Right after that, the final onboarding step is to generate a campaign. And the nice part here is that it's pretty straightforward. If you go into the dashboard, you'll also be able to see all your email activity and performance over time. So inside the Send47 dashboard, you can view your email performance by month, by day, by year, and you can also look at your overall metrics and the health of your email sending patterns. That includes things like emails sent, average open rate, click rate, response rate, spam rate, top performing countries, and more. So you're not operating blind. You're actually getting a view into what's happening across your campaigns. Now, when it comes to creating a campaign, the process is simple. You click on Create a New Campaign, and then you describe what you want to create. So let's say I want to create an email newsletter based on one of my LinkedIn posts. I'll take that LinkedIn post URL, paste it in, and ask the platform to generate an email from it. And this is where Send47 starts showing how flexible it is. You've got a bunch of options to choose from. You can create a promotional campaign, a newsletter, a welcome series, or if you're doing outreach, you can choose the cold email option. So for this example, let's say I want to generate a marketing email. I'll choose newsletter. Then I can decide if I want text only or if I want a marketing email that includes images. For this demo, I'm choosing the marketing email with images option. I can either let the AI generate images or I can upload my own image. And this is where it gets really interesting. Let's say I upload an image of myself holding a coffee mug, and I want the platform to personalize that image so each recipient gets their own version. For example, I want the person in the image to be holding a mug with the recipient's name on it. That means every person who receives the email gets a version that feels personalized to them. That's a very different experience than sending one static creative to everyone. So I'll select that personalization option, choose the brand, and then pick the list I want to send to. Let's say I pick my contact list. Then I can skip through the next step and select whether I want a single email or a series. In this example, I'll choose a single email. And then for the image personalization, I can define the prompt more clearly. Something like, I want this person to hold a coffee mug with the recipient's name on it. That's the instruction. And of course, you can get much more creative than that. You can think of a lot of different visual personalization ideas depending on your use case. Or if you want, you can just let the platform generate the visuals for your email without uploading your own image. Now I'll give it a quick content prompt too. For example, I want the email to welcome the prospect to trying out Send47, which is an email marketing platform. Then the system gives me a quick summary of what it's about to do, and I can click Generate in Background. At that point, the email starts generating. Now, before it finishes, the AI may ask a few clarifying questions so it can personalize the email better and make sure the output is aligned with what I actually want. So it'll ask me a few confirmation questions. I'll choose the right options, confirm that the direction looks good, and then click Generate. In this example, I selected one email, but you can also choose an email series if you want a sequence instead of a single send. So if your use case needs multiple touches, the system can build that too. Now the email is generating. It takes a moment, and once it's ready, I can go into the campaign. And of course, all of the campaigns you create will be available inside the campaign section. So here's the generated campaign. And before we get into the sender settings, let's actually look at the email itself first. You can see that the AI generated the image, and in this case, it used my image and placed the recipient's name on the coffee mug. So right away, you can see how the personalization works visually. And beyond that, it's also pulled in the footer settings, the brand guidelines, the logo, the social media links, everything that was defined inside the brand settings. So all of that gets populated automatically from the profile you created earlier. It also includes an unsubscribe button, which is obviously a standard email best practice. And then you can see the email copy itself has been generated nicely as well. At this stage, I can also send a test email to myself just to see how it looks before I send it out more broadly. Then we move into the send settings. This is where you define how the campaign is actually going to be delivered. You choose the contact list you want to send to. You define the sending pace. So if you've got strong sender reputation and healthier infrastructure, you may choose smart or faster settings depending on what kind of campaign it is. You can also customize the sending window, choose what times of day the email should go out, define the number of emails per hour, and control that whole sending pattern. And then, if you've connected multiple sender accounts, you can also decide how those senders should be used. For example, you can choose multi-account mode, and then decide whether you want auto rotation, round robin, or a selected sender only. You can define the sender name, sender email, and all of that right there. And this is where sending logic becomes really important. Because if you're sending cold emails, you usually want to keep the sending pace lower and safer. If you're sending marketing emails, especially through a setup like Resend, then you might want to use a faster recommendation. So again, the platform is not just helping you send. It's helping you send in a way that actually matches the type of campaign you're running. And if you've got questions about that, that's something we also help with inside the Slack community. So if you're in there and you need guidance on what sending settings make sense for your use case, you can always reach out to me and I can help you think it through. Once the campaigns are sent, you'll be able to see all the results inside the Campaigns tab. So for example, let's say you look at one of the campaigns that's already been sent. You'll be able to see the analytics, and the analytics view gives you a full overview of how that campaign performed. You can see things like what countries the emails were sent to, your open rates, click rates, unsubscribes, bounces, country-wise performance data, link activity, which links got the most clicks, and then also the last 10 emails that were opened, clicked, replied to, and so on. Now, different types of campaigns will naturally be measured differently. For example, with cold email, the main success metric is often not just opens or clicks, it's responses. That's what you really care about. And that's where the inbox layer becomes really useful. Because once you connect your email accounts, you can see all those responses in one unified inbox. So now, instead of bouncing across separate inboxes trying to keep track of who replied where, you can manage all of those responses in one place. You can see replies, bounces, unread messages, and everything else right there inside the platform. Then, if you want to go further and build more advanced automation, you can use the workflows section. This is where you can define automations based on different actions and logic. For example, Send47 has a direct Zapier integration, so you can use Zapier to create automations based on list changes, actions people take, clicks, views, delays, and all kinds of other campaign behavior. This is really useful when you want to move beyond just sending emails and start building more advanced systems around them. And if you ever need help, support is built into the experience. You can use the chat box, you can check the documentation at send47.com/documentation, and at the bottom of that documentation area, you'll find all the resource links, including API documentation, Zapier integrations, and more. You can also go straight into the Help Center, which gives you a full set of guides on how to use the platform. And if needed, you can always reach out by email, ping me inside the Slack community if you're in there, or just ask the chatbot right there inside the product. So the big takeaway from this whole demo is that Send47 is not just helping you create an email. It's helping you set up the right sender, build the campaign, personalize the message and the visuals, control how it gets delivered, track the performance, manage the replies, and extend everything with workflows and automation. That's why we think about it less like a simple email tool and more like a real operating system for email marketing and outreach.